You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Hart of Dixie After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Hart of Dixie After Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another after show for Hart of Dixie here at AFTERBUZZ TV. It is season 3, episode 16, Carrying Your Love With Me. I'm your host for tonight, Paige Sullivan, joined by my lovely co-host.
Hi, guys. It's Michelle Renee.
And so we'll break this episode down for you. This was what we've been waiting for all season. Not waiting for, but we knew it was coming the entire season, and it's finally here. What did you think about the breakup?
Honestly, like you said, I expected that it was coming, as everyone did, but it was very quick.
Yeah.
Like, the way they did the time progression with the 2 weeks and 2 weeks and then 1 week, I guess that makes more sense. But I would have at least expected the breakup or the rough patch to have lasted at least 2 episodes. I didn't expect them to break up the episode right after he moved to LA.
I didn't either. I really thought the progression would have gone on a bit longer. And while we saw them struggling, it didn't seem like anything that should break up a couple.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, if you truly want to be together, I think you make it work, even if that means you see them once a month or once every 2 months. Whereas the fact that they didn't see each other like every 2 weeks was daunting to Zoe.
Yeah. And them breaking up, it was, I don't know, on her part, I felt like it was a cop-out because he's like, okay, well, like, what is our other choice? And she's like, I mean, we're just going to break up, of course. I mean, we didn't see her say that, but, you know, it's implied that she was just like, okay, we're breaking up, and just kind of threw in the towel.
Yeah.
And I agree. There was never really a time where they really had to deal with a long-distance relationship.
And I agree. I think it was a cop-out. She kind of just was like, well, this is our options, and this is what we'll do. But he, at the same time, didn't really seem to fight for Zoe and try and, like, prove that it was going to work or that it would be okay. And so, I mean, maybe ideally it's best they broke up now. I'm just wondering if they only did 1 episode because we don't have that many left. So if they took over 2 episodes, then where does that leave Zoe at the end of the season?
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, they should have thought about that maybe earlier in the season, so then we could have gotten rid of him a few episodes ago.
I think with the first episode, we predicted he'd be here for like 3 episodes.
Yeah,
and it's
he was
halfway
here
through
for,
the
like-
season. He's here, 16 whole episodes, he's here. And, I mean, I think even the beginning when, you know, everybody's saying goodbye to Joel, and it's like, oh, everybody's so sad. It's like, wait, are you truly that sad? Like, you got an email address to email Joel?
Do you think he'll be back, though? Because he says, like, it's just a break.
It's a break, but it's a year-long break. So, you know, he's supposedly going to Europe for a year. I think he could be back. I think he could pop in to visit.
Yeah.
I definitely think he'll be back to visit while
That's
they're on
what I
their
see.
break, and that will be like the official breakup.
Yeah. And there's going to be maybe a conflict there because she will have moved on. Maybe.
I don't know. It's weird because everything that we've been predicting, like Whitney keeps predicting Lavon and Lemon, but then this episode we're getting Lemon and George, and Wade and Vivian still seem to be going pretty strong. So I'm confused as to where the end of the season's going because most Zoe and Wade fans really thought once they broke up, that's what we were getting. And it doesn't really feel like that's what we're going to get.
Yeah. But, I mean, as we've seen with Hart of Dixie, like this episode, for example, they can make a quick change, like, within 1 episode.
This is very
So
true.
even though, like, Wade and Vivian are going strong, like, they could be broken up next episode.
True, and we haven't
blink of
seen
an eye.
we haven't seen them have any conflict ever. Like not real conflicts, like maybe with Harley a little bit, but they've never really had a fight or anything like that. So maybe, you know, a fight is what's going to break them up because ultimately they've never had to deal with anything that hard in their relationship at all, except for like stealing the goat or whatever it was. So I don't know.
And today she, I guess, was a little bit annoyed that Lillian was writing songs about her man.
Yeah, I mean
Negative songs about him, but
Lillian. I mean, that leads us to Lillian. I mean, I think it's so funny they brought her back for the sole purpose of, like, being annoying. Like, that's what her character is. She's to, like, annoy the people in the town, annoy us.
And she has the same chords. I don't know if that's the technical term, but like every song has like the same.
I think it's chords. I mean, I don't play the
it,
guitar.
And she just puts different lyrics to it.
I know. That's
like
true.
that can't be that entertaining because everyone's like, oh, she sold out fancies.
I know.
Her songs sound like a dying cat.
And yeah, it reminds me of
offense to her.
Phoebe on Friends, like the horrible songs that Phoebe would sing, like about nothing in the coffee shop. So I don't know. And I also think it's funny that everybody's like, oh, she put on a great set last night. It's like, who is going to see her sing about George Tucker for 7 songs? Like, I don't even want to hear Taylor Swift sing about the same guy for 2 songs. So I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
But that whole storyline with her owning fancies, I want to have them like lay it out for me. Like, how much does fancies cost? Because everybody can afford it. Like,
well, she was leasing it. She didn't own it. She was leasing it. So
that's
I guess
true.
she didn't have to pay as much.
I mean, it's
I
like,
don't know.
Shelby owned it.
$1 million?
I don't know. I mean, what does
You get a
something
loan
cost
from a
in
bank.
BlueBell?
I don't know. It's probably really cheap, actually.
Yeah, it's the South, so like, isn't the price of living a lot cheaper in the South? The cost of
Oh,
living?
yeah.
Yeah, I thought
Generally
houses
speaking,
and stuff.
I've never had to like buy a restaurant, so I don't really know.
Me either. I don't own much.
And we see the lawyer, Connie, is that her name, come back?
Mm-hmm.
She's getting on my nerves.
She's annoying, and I still forget where I know her from. I meant to like look up where I know her from, but I forgot. But she's just kind of, she's also like a Lily Ann. She's just there to kind of like annoy us and to be annoying to George.
Yeah, which makes me think that at some point there's going to be kind of a reversal in her character and maybe,
Redeeming qualities.
I don't know, I see kind of a little bit of spark between her and George. Like, I feel like when she popped up tonight, he was kind of like, oh, hey, Connie, what are you doing here?
Right.
As if he were a little bit excited to see her.
Right.
But, you know, and then she obviously served them. So then, you know, things turned really quickly. But maybe I could
think-
see them putting their work.
Yeah, I think they could. I mean, she's the only other lawyer around other than McGreevy, so maybe there's like a connection there, somebody he can relate to.
Yeah. I just don't know, like, why they would continue to, like, bring her up if there wasn't some purpose that she was going to serve, like, later.
Yeah, it's like foreshadowing. She's here for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think she will be. I don't think anytime soon, but I think eventually they could be something. I mean, who else does George have? Because I know he hooked up with Lemon this episode, but I don't foresee that being like a thing. You do?
I see it maybe being a hookup thing. That seems to be Lemon's MO.
Yeah.
As of lately, you know, she
With
is
like
all about
Meatball
that.
and
Yeah, it just is like, you know, throwing caution to the wind and, you know, all about having a good time. So why not? They're both 2 single adults and they've been there, done that. So it's not like they're compromising, you know.
This is true. It's almost
Their
easier
morals.
for them though
Yeah.
to hook up with each other because they were doing it for 15 years. It's like a normal, comfortable place for them. It's not that difficult. Granted, they were drunk when it happened. But I just like the whole progression of everything is so fast. It's like, oh, Lily-Ann's out. Lily-Ann's in. Lily-Ann's out again. It's like all you have to do is send Vivian in there and tell her that she like, what was the nationality? Norwegian?
Norwegians and they're
and ghosts and, you know, it's just like, first off, I just wonder where they even come up with that list of things that she's afraid of. Like, who was like, okay, this is what it is. This is what she's going to be afraid of. But, I mean, Vivian played along. She's kind of being like a little Zoe here. I don't know. This is where the reality aspect of like BlueBell is far off for me.
There is none, yeah.
Well, like they try to make these relationships very realistic and they go through things that we would go through, but then like the actual town is very, I don't know, big characters, little reality.
Yeah.
But I did like the dynamic though of Wade he's become like the little helper, like the fixer, like working with George and Lemon on getting their buffer to help them like with their store. But I wanted, like, they're adults and they were together for 15 years. I think they can like work together peacefully, or they should be able to work together peacefully.
I don't understand why George was so adamant about like being there to help her.
Because he's supposed to be, I mean, I would rather be a silent partner and like let her do all the work. Like what does he gain from
Or lose.
Yeah, nothing.
So that's why I didn't really get that. I don't know, but I think that they kind of showed the dynamic between them and how much they were arguing and then the whole hookup, because I think that maybe something is going to happen there. I mean, maybe we at least have to see it for the next episode, because if you think about it, like he comes into Rachel's little pity party and he's like, Lemon isn't here, is she? And
yeah.
that's the only thing that's said about it. So at some point, they're going to have to address it with each other, or she's going to at least have to let Annabeth know that they hooked up or something to kind of address it. So I think that we'll at least see that happen next episode. But I think they're going to keep hooking up, personally.
I think it would be nice if they did. I still think that they won't end up together, but there was something that drew them together for 15 years. There was a reason they stayed together that long. There was something endearing about each other that they liked and enjoyed spending time together. And I think maybe the last year and a half or so since they broke up, like, you need to be away from your ex for a while. Like, need to distance yourself. And maybe this is maybe not them getting back together, but this is kind of how their friendship will evolve. Like, they own a business, they hooked up, they got that sexual tension out of the way, and now maybe they can have, like, a legitimate friendship as opposed to, like, being ex-boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't know. All these couples are, like, everywhere. And I really am having a hard time, like, picturing, like, a timeline of where we're going to end up with everybody. And I'm still holding out for the news guy for Lemon. You're like, no.
That's news and gossip. What was his name?
Oh, News and Gossip? I don't remember his name. Ethan? I don't know.
I think
All
my news
right.
and gossip is related to him. So
All right.
wait for that page.
Perfect. And so now we'll jump to Lavon. So Lavon's doing this whole thing, learning French. He wants to woo this French mayor who's coming to BlueBell. I liked seeing Michaela Maroney again. I didn't know she was still doing the show.
I'm not going to say, she's a little baby. I'm not going to say anything about it.
You don't like her?
I don't know if it was what they had her say or if it was her acting, but it was just so, I mean, at least with Rose, like, I think
she's a great actress.
Her material is a little bit, like, corny just because of the show we're speaking about, but, like, she's a really good actress. Like, it's believable. I believe Rose is a, 13, 14, 15-year-old girl in a small town who's, like, in everyone's business and who just wants to be successful and is gonna, like, make it big someday. Like,
Right.
I believe that. But with the guest star, Michaela, is that her
Well,
name?
that's what I'm wondering.
She was a little bit off for me.
No, I agree. I don't think her acting skills are maybe up to par with, maybe Claudia Lee's or, but I think I'm trying to wonder is she making a transition from gymnastics to acting? Like, is that what she's doing? Because you see so many Olympic athletes right now, like they're hosting E! News, they're like doing talk shows, they're on the Today Show, they're all branching out. Like, being in the Olympics these days isn't just about being like an athlete, it's about like where your next step is. So I'm just wondering if she's trying to make that transition, and since she already did it on, Hart of Dixie, maybe this is just kind of where
she's just getting her feet wet. Okay,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's what she's doing, if she's just a guest star, if she's like, a minor recurring character.
Well, I remember that's actually what I thought when I was watching the show, because I was thinking to myself, a lot of Olympic athletes from 2012, was it? So that was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Said after the Olympics, oh, I want to get into acting.
Yeah.
And she is one of like Ryan Lochte.
Yeah, Ryan Lochte. He wanted to be a fashion designer, is what he wanted.
What's
to be.
he doing these days?
He had a reality show, but I think he's training for the Olympics right now.
Again? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they come every 4 years.
4 years. Gabby Douglas, she said she wanted to be an actress, didn't she? What's she doing?
I think so.
But I know she also said she wanted to go to another Olympics.
But she was very young.
Yeah.
She was the youngest one of them all, I think, so she could go back to the Olympics for sure.
Okay. Well, we digress. But, I mean, if she wants to be an actress, good for her. But I want more from her, because I think since she is coming in, if it was some regular actress off the street that came in and was doing a guest starring role, no one would really judge as harshly. But since people already know her name and they see her coming onto the show, they're going to either say, okay, yeah, she's a great actress, I definitely see a future for her, or no, get her out of here, I want a real actress, because we're just seeing her as like the Olympic gymnast that's coming onto the show trying to make a name for herself. Well,
I think that's what I see her as right now.
Yeah,
it's like the first thing I thought was like, oh, there's Michaela Maroney. Like, I don't even know if I heard her lines, because I just kind of looked at her and was like, oh, there she is. But who knows? I mean, she could develop into a great actress, or who knows where her career is going. But that whole storyline with Lavon just seemed so theatric for me, and kind of lame in the way that, like, how come everybody in BlueBell knows French? And, like, why are you all fluent in French? How come everybody can speak French? Where I grew up, everybody didn't speak French. That wasn't a thing we did.
Yeah. And last week we kind of speculated that there were going to be no more town events. Boom. There's another. I mean, this one wasn't like the Moody and this whole like French exchange program.
Right.
Which that wasn't like a huge festival or anything, no parades, no costumes, but still it's like, oh man, I thought they were letting up on the events, and then they weren't.
No, I kind of wish they had dedicated this episode more to Zoe, and Joel breaking up and really seeing that develop instead of even including the Lavon storyline, because or even George and Lemon. I mean, I like the end result of that, and I'm excited to see where that goes. But I just feel like sometimes they try and include everybody in each episode, whereas maybe this episode would have been fine if it was just Zoe and Joel. Because if it had only been 3 episodes into the season and we're getting rid of him, I probably would have been fine with the way things happened. But this was so quick, and it was just, we didn't really see anything. It was just kind of like steps happening to show us that they were breaking up. I don't know. It was very strange to me. And the whole Lavon thing, trying to woo a French woman.
The first second she came on the TV, I thought to myself, how does he know that she is not, I mean, it's 2014, so how does he know that she's not gay? How does he know that she's not married? How do you know that she doesn't have kids, which she does? Or how do you even know that she's interested in you?
Right. You can't assume when you can't learn French for someone.
And I feel like that's what a lot of people, that's real life though, because a lot of people these days, they see someone and they just automatically assume like, oh, like that person will be into me.
Yeah, you
I mean,
can't do
I
that.
kind of do that actually, but so I just was like, Lavon, what are you doing? You look so desperate right now. Just chill out.
Yeah. He
Why?
has looked desperate though.
Yeah.
And then he even has the
Lavon.
nerve to get like kind of jealous when the French guy is into Annabeth.
Yeah, I just think that maybe the entire reason for that storyline was just to point out that he still has feelings for her. But that could have been done in another way instead of dragging it out the whole episode to develop this like situation where he was supposed to have this, pretty French woman that kind of resembles her. They both have red hair, fair skin.
Yeah.
He was supposed to have her. That fell through, and then his colleague from the French town is actually attracted to her. And then he gets jealous and storms off and says he's not going to help her.
Yeah, in America, we introduce ourselves.
Yeah, which made me think, though, okay, this exchange program, I'm assuming, is only going to be like a 1-episode thing.
Yeah, I would
one and
think
done.
so.
So they're gone next week. And that's, who was the guy from last week with the night costume on? Because we still don't know who that is.
No, I don't know, and I wish we did.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, why didn't we touch on that?
Instead of this
Instead of
French guy.
French guy who's not going to matter next episode.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know. And I also, it just made me mad because, Lavon didn't want to commit to Annabeth. He didn't want to say, I'll marry you. He didn't want to say, I see forever with you. So she walked away and he let her go. And you can't get jealous when you're the one who basically determined the way the relationship ended. She still wanted to be with you. So it just seems a little bit selfish to me, his actions sometimes. And even the way he acted after the breakup, he was so devastated. But I don't think he ever really looked at himself and was like, oh, this is on me. She loved me, she cared, and I led her on for however long it was.
He did and he didn't lead her on because it's not like he didn't like her or love her.
No, that's
he did.
true.
He just didn't necessarily see her as the
Marriage
one forever.
material.
Well, I mean, and you can look at it as the glass half empty or the glass half full because it's kind of better that he, did at least break up with her instead of like marrying her just because he knew that was the right thing to do. 'Cause
Right.
that really would have sucked.
That would have been awful, have
Yeah.
another broken wedding at BlueBell. Yeah. No, I agree, but I just really thought that whole storyline was a little bit, I don't know, unnecessary this episode. But they tied in a little bit with Brick, who was going for the Moody Award, and we haven't really seen too much of him recently, so I was surprised that we saw so much of him this episode, and very bitter. He's a very bitter old man. I don't know what his problem is. It reminded me, I was watching it, and if anybody watches Real Housewives, it reminded me of when Kim was like, you're an angry old man to Ken on the Real Housewives, because he was just so mean to everybody. And I didn't get it. Like, I don't really remember him being mean.
Yeah, it was very abrupt. Maybe it has something to do with Shelby and the fact that he's alone.
Yeah.
But I thought he had gotten over that.
Yeah, I thought he was being nicer, and he was like, but now he's like yelling at little girls, and I don't know. It was very strange, but I thought it was. I didn't actually think about it, but when they nominated Joel, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Obviously, tie it all together in a little bow for the end of this episode.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. Definitely didn't see Cricket's husband either, though. Like, where'd he come from?
I know, and when they sang to Joel at the beginning of the episode, I was like, oh, God, so bad, so bad. Like, how does anybody let them do this in public?
Well, we had, what was her name?
Brandy Burkhart.
Brandy Burkhart. Sorry. She was on our after show, and I can just imagine like her cringing when she had to do that scene.
Really?
Of like.
Well, I think she's done Broadway. Like, I think
Has
she
she?
has, so maybe she's, like, okay with it. I think so. I don't know. I mean, I would have a hard time being like, okay, for real, I gotta do this. But
Yeah, she just didn't strike me as like the silly type to like kind of, be down for whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's part of her job, but
Yeah.
I don't know how she.
I don't know, maybe
handled
you
that
just
scene.
do it and you laugh at yourself and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, and that was insane. All right, move
Yeah.
on to the next scene.
This is total speculation, so.
Yeah, we don't know her
I'm
that
sure
well.
you loved it, girl.
Yeah, who knows?
Sure, you had the time of your life.
But yeah, that whole scene and her accepting it, but then her in her room like wallowing. I get it. I would wallow as well. But the fact that like all of the town comes over at one time to console her, but I was like looking in the room and there's people we don't even know. Like I was like, okay, I don't know who that guy is. I don't know who that guy is. And I was thinking maybe we should have just had like the people we know in the room.
Yeah.
Because if everybody walked into my room, I'd be like, okay, enough, out.
But I think the point of that was, and somebody made a comment, you have all of us here or something like that.
Yeah, you've got
I
us.
think it was just to show like that Zoe really has made BlueBell her home, and that, it's not like it was in the beginning where she was trying to win everyone's affection over and everyone like hated her. Like now everyone really cares for her and they care for her well-being. And so
Right.
now more than ever, you see why she wants to stay in BlueBell and why she's
Has to stay in
has
BlueBell.
to stay, and why she can't go with Joel.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it had a purpose, and it made it very clear why she doesn't want to travel across the country. I mean, she could take a year off from work and just do that, but she doesn't want to. I think that's one of the things some people say, like, you can do this. It's like, can is one thing, but do you want to? Is it the best thing for you, or are you just supporting the other person? So if she didn't really believe in the relationship the second she found out he was leaving. It was like instantly she was like, we're going to break up. So if that's the way you're thinking, you're not going to give up your career and your life for that person.
Yeah, but I mean, he gave up his career not gave it up, because obviously he's still a writer, but if you think about it, he did move to BlueBell with her and was willing to make that sacrifice in the beginning of their relationship.
Right.
So,
But I think
don't
that
know,
says
maybe it's
something.
maybe it's a little unfair for her not to at least try it, or to at least say, okay, well, I can go for 3 months, or I can go for
Right.
6 months.
Because she could take a leave and it really wouldn't matter. It's
Yeah.
not like she's owns the practice right now.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I mean, that's something that people deal with in real life, like in relationships, when it's about career and
Yeah.
are you going to give up your dreams to help your husband or your boyfriend reach his dreams, and vice versa. So, I mean, I think it was a very good subject matter for them to touch on.
I agree, and I think we always say this. They bring up good things that we're all going through, but sometimes just in the way that they're presented isn't realistic.
execution is
But
a
I think we get the idea of it. It is hard, and for her to say you can't do this, or I'm not, I need this, you need that. Relationships require compromise, and if people aren't willing to compromise, which Zoe really wasn't willing to
No.
do, I think that's just a telltale sign. I mean, even if you guys were living in the same state, eventually something would have happened, and she wouldn't have compromised, or he wouldn't have, and they would have broken up. So, I think they could have broken up over many different things. It's just this was the situation that they broke up over, or they're taking a break over. So, I don't know. Is there anything else on the episode that you wanted to touch base on?
Nope.
I mean, we didn't really talk about it that much, but George and Lemon getting drunk and sleeping
Hooking up.
together.
Or did they sleep together?
I don't know.
I don't know.
She had a bra on. I mean,
Yeah.
not that means anything, but she did look under the covers, and I think
He didn't have
George was naked, so that would indicate maybe that they had sex. But some people get drunk and take their clothes off and pass
Yeah.
out, so it's not that strange. It happens. So we'll see next week. But for right now, we have some news and gossip.
Yeah, one little tidbit of news and
AfterBuzz
gossip.
TV
So,
News.
you mentioned earlier that you want to see the
News guy.
news
The news producer.
back for Lemon, and I'm pretty sure he's coming back. I read online at an interview that Jamie King did with zaptoit.com that Robert Buckley, who played
Yes, that's
Peter,
his name. Okay.
yeah, is going to be coming back, but it's at a really bad time for Lemon because she swore men off last episode. So she has to try to figure out what to do there. So the good news is that he's coming back. The bad news is that we don't know if he's going to stick around or if he's going to just be there for 1 or 2 episodes.
I hope he sticks around. I think if we had a 4th season, he'd be a good addition because, like we said, we love
Yeah.
having new people. Especially, he would bring something the town doesn't have. You know, he's got this worldly career that Lemon would probably really appreciate. He's not just a guy with money living off his parents', you know, mansion. So
yeah, it also said that in the interview too, that he's a good, you know, balance, just because he's a good, nice, plain guy that, you know, and that's generally who you fall in love with. And why you fall in love with someone, not because they have like this pedigree or whatever, like Carter Covington.
And he's hardworking, so there's a huge difference than a Carter Covington and then Peter. So, and Lemon's really expanded her horizons recently, anyways, trying to figure out what she wants. So I guess we will see. So why don't we jump into some predictions?
All right.
And now your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Do you have any serious predictions?
Do I? I don't know. I've said this a few times already, but I think that Lemon and George did hook up, and I think that they're going to continue this little, you know, affair that they have going on for at least through next episode.
Yeah, I also foresee that happening, and I think, I don't know why, but I don't think they would have included this whole storyline with Lavon if it wasn't leading to maybe a reconciliation between him and Annabeth. Because otherwise, what's the point of showing him be jealous at all? Especially last week when he's dancing with Lemon and fighting for her honor. I mean, maybe this is kind of a reality check for him, and he realizes he doesn't want her to be with someone else. So I'd like to see that happen. I don't really see it from what we saw this episode, but I just think we're getting close to the end. Something has to rock the boat for Vivian and Wade.
Yeah.
I don't know what that will be. I don't know how it'll play out, but I just foresee it coming in the next 1 to 2 episodes. No, like, legitimate predictions about what I think will happen. I just think end result would be a breakup.
Do you, this just came to mind, do you think that there could be, like, a love square between, like, Lemon and, like, all of her men? Because we know that this Peter kid's coming back, like, George and Lavon.
Yeah, I mean, there could very well be something.
Yeah, so I don't know. That just popped in my head too. But then, like, last episode was her doing like the love triangle. So I'm like, we've already.
I think maybe I think when Peter comes back, they will have something more substantial because she hasn't really had a real boyfriend since her and George broke up. It's been a roller coaster of weird.
Well, she had that one boyfriend for a while.
The dentist.
Yeah, I think that was him.
Yeah, for like 2 episodes maybe, but like she didn't have like a Lavon and A.B. or anything like that. She hasn't had anything since George, and she's been fighting to become this new woman and own a business and all of those things. So I think the next step for Lemon would to be in a relationship. So, you know, if not Zoe, maybe Lemon. So I don't know, but keep the conversation going on iTunes, YouTube, comment, rate, tell a friend, let us know what you're thinking. And you should also tweet at us. You can tweet at AfterBuzz TV, at AfterBuzz TV. You can tweet at myself, at Paige Sullivan.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Michelle Renee TV.
And we will see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.